Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean,
Chris,
and joining us this week we have two special guests who are now about to introduce themselves. Put that drink down, Abby.
Yeah, I'm Abby. I'm racing in British F4 this year.
And I'm Alice Power, who's much better than Abby.
You're much older as well, so have fun.
Oh, thanks.
But which one of you
so
was...
yeah, thank you, Alice and Abby, for coming on the show.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Just which one of you is the most ginger? That's the question that all our listeners want to know.
I'm the most beautiful. And Abby had to dye her hair, or she bleached her hair, now going ginger, so I have to say Abby.
It's not ginger. That's fine. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm dead.
No, thanks so much for joining us this week. I mean, normally we kick off with a race review, but this is the first time on the show we've had not only two guests, but two current active drivers as well. This is a bit of a first for us, isn't it? It's a major
Alice is
first.
quite racing. You know, just getting on. Got the key.
Dude, I'm going to finish your career right now.
I was going to say, while you're still on speaking terms with each other, perhaps you want to say what you're up to this coming season, who you're racing for, and where we should watch out for you.
Okay, so I'll go first because I'm the
All right.
eldest. So I'm racing in W Series this year. The series was cancelled last year due to COVID, obvious reasons. But this year they're back even better because we've got 8 races supporting Formula One, which includes tracks like Silverstone, the British Grand Prix, Austin and Mexico as well. So 8 amazing races, and it's been a long time since I've been in a single seater, over a year. So I'm really looking forward to getting back out. As well as the racing, I'll be doing the coaching side, helping
This legend.
with this legend, apparently, who is Mackenzie Cresswell, and then some geezer called Abby Pulling.
And then I'm racing in British F4 being coached by Alice. And I'm coming back for a second year. I did it last year, and I'm in for the title fight this year. Just, I got experience last year. And should be a good year, with Alice. I'll be more happier with the rounds that she isn't there.
Thank you.
So what got you both into racing? You both started in karts and then moved up that way, or anything different?
So I started in karting when I was around about 8.5 years old, cadets, which at the time was the lowest form of karting, and then moved up through the ranks and into cars, into a series called Ginetta Juniors when I was about 15. So I've been around in motorsport for a lot longer than Abby has.
Yeah, we know.
As I get reminded every day.
So I did go-karting as well, and then I did the same. I went up into the Ginettas. I did that for a short period of time, then went down the single-seater route.
I mean, Ginetta seems to be the big step after karting. Is it only having ever seen one on? I think Project Cars is the one that I've driven one of those in. How much of a difference is there between a kart and a single seater? Is that kind of like the midpoint for how it goes, or is it closer to a sort of modified road car? Because it's one. It's one of these series where you hear the name and you don't know what it means.
I mean, like the Ginetta, it is a race car. It is. There's a version built for the roads, but it's not quite, similar. There's a lot more body roll on the Ginetta. It's a bigger car, it's heavier, whereas the single seater is more nimble and direct, and it's smoother. It's nice, in my opinion, nicer to drive. It suits me and I really enjoy it. I mean, you wouldn't see someone driving around in an F4 car, going around the roundabout and going to the co-op. So, yeah, it's a bit different, but...
I don't know. We live on the Isle of Man, so we do see all kinds of weird and wonderful forms of transport over here. The
For
ni-
Abby's from them. Knows what they see there.
yeah, the night we saw John McGuinness on a superbike driving past the end of our road because he'd decided to take the scenic route when he was doing the TT. That was a strange one.
We want to go and see
Yeah,
the TT.
we-
We
we
actually
spoke-
mentioned about it the other day.
We have
didn't we?
spoken about going.
We know where to stay then. Over.
Yeah, we just want to see the TT as well. We need COVID to go away, and then we can
Yeah,
get some
exactly.
racing.
If I crane my head out of the room that I'm currently in out the window, I could just about see the grandstand at start-finish line for the TT races. So yeah, it's when the racing is going, it's really close to where we all live, to be honest with you. But I have to say, I'm probably closest to the track.
Yeah, you
There we
definitely
go.
win.
Stay there.
How many spare rooms have you got, Chris?
2 at the moment.
There may have to be more podcast appearances to pay for your board and lodging. So with W Series and F4 starting soon, when about W Series is June, isn't it? You're starting in France.
That's it. So we head to Paul Ricard. So that's at the end of June. So we've got our official test has been moved from Valencia, which was meant to be at the end of April, now in the middle of May to Anglesey. So slightly totally different venues. I've never been to Anglesey in my life, believe it or not. So yeah, I'm looking forward to you.
If you get sad, you can drive in the sea.
Yeah, if I get upset, I can just dive into the sea if I wish. But no, then we head to the Red Bull Ring, which is one of the tracks that I can't wait to go on. Actually, I've driven it on the F1 game and R Factor 2, and really looking forward to going to the Red Bull Ring. Hopefully there'll be crowds there because obviously Max Verstappen, great atmosphere as well, and the British Grand Prix 2 weeks after that. So the first 3 races are pretty cool, to be honest.
That's great. And Abby, what about the start of your season? When do you get all kicked off?
Yeah, so we've already had the media day, and we actually have the first race is I think 7th of May, so it's a bit earlier than Alice, and then after that it's Snetterton, so there's a big wait after in between. It's about a month, and then after that it condenses quite a lot, and from what my memories, it's going to be, I think, quite a fun season. I'm not going abroad and get to go on holiday like Alice, but it's a really cool calendar. The BTCC of British F4.
That sounds good. Now I know they've been streaming the British F4 races live on the web before. Do you happen to know if they're still doing it this season? Because I suppose we need to watch, really, don't we?
I know it's on ITV, so it was on ITV2 and ITV4 last year. I honestly have no clue if it's on YouTube or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's ITV do some really good coverage of it.
Oh right, in that case, definitely watch out for that. So that's one for the UK listeners to keep a look out for, and we'll definitely share it on the website and on future shows as well. Right, did you both watch the F1 yesterday? That is the next question.
We did. We both sat down on the sofa.
Ultra 4K, whatever it is.
Yeah, luckily I like my other half. He likes the nice big TVs as well. So we've saved up. Got a nice big 65-inch TV. So it was luxury.
Right, we're all
Watch that.
we're all coming around to yours to watch the F1. If you're coming here for the TT, in that case.
Do you both?
That's fine.
Do you both do a lot of following other series, or once you get into the season, are you very much fixed on your own racing?
The only series I don't follow is British F4.
It's a gingerbread I really dislike.
No, I mean, I love Formula 1, Formula 2 and FIF3 as well. Those are really good. I've had the chance to commentate on F2 a couple of times for F1, the world feed last year. So, even then I increased, my enjoyment really of watching Formula 2 and the feeder series. Obviously then there's British touring cars as well, which the British F4 supports. I just follow lots of things really. In MotoGP I enjoy, but I don't have BT Sport, so I can't really watch it I don't know if it's on terrestrial TV. I don't think. You're going to tell me now that it is.
Someone's got a highlights package.
ITV have got the highlights.
I can't remember who it is. Someone's done a highlights package for this year.
There we go.
There's half the information you were looking for.
Should probably look that up if we had anything connected to the internet.
Abby follows other series.
Yeah, I try and follow them, but like I'm normally racing on the same weekend, so we'll be in the truck like in our spare time. We'll put something on, and then we'll have to go out for our own race. So it's quite hard to follow it, especially last year again with the really condensed season.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a difficult one. Even we were getting burnout, so God knows what the drivers and the drivers and the teams must have felt like.
Yeah, no, it was last season. Obviously, I wasn't racing. I did the finished off the season the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy, so we did actually have 7 races in 9 days. That was really condensed. That was pretty busy. We were in this massive hangar in Berlin, and at times it was very warm, so we couldn't really go anywhere because we weren't allowed to go out of our paddock or anything. So, proper condensed that was there, and then obviously it was straight back over to the UK doing the coaching in British Formula 4. So the end of last year was a massive blur, to be honest.
It flipping sounds like it.
Certainly was.
Yeah, how do you cope with pressure like that? So, how do you manage to sort of get enough headspace to relax when it's all going on, or do you just sort of deal with it and you get to the end and go, right, shoes off, feet up, forget the world?
Yeah, a little bit like that. I mean, it was so full on. I don't mind it like that. I enjoy going and doing the coaching. I enjoy going to the tracks. Obviously, I enjoy going racing. I'm quite
enjoy
fortunate.
Being with me.
Obviously, I enjoy being with Abby.
Me.
Yeah. I only really started working with Abby this sort of the second half of the British F4 season. So, then it really picked up doing lots of other things with Abby and stuff. So I don't know. I just really enjoy it as well as doing that. I work for my dad, labouring. I'm on furlough at the moment because obviously there's no work, and he's a high risk, so he can't go out. He's got to stay indoors. He's had all his jabs. So actually, it was come Christmas time. Your body then just literally, I just want to sleep. My body goes, time to rest now. But then I get quite quickly bored, so go out and do stuff again. In normal times.
Yeah. W Series is stepping up, as you said, to be a Formula One support race this year. I think it was DTM, wasn't it, in previous years? Does that mean there's going to get more television coverage on the Sky F1 channels, or are you not sure how the coverage is being distributed for W Series yet?
No, I'm not sure. I'm hoping, obviously, that there's going to be great coverage. It had the Channel 4 coverage in the first year in 2019, which went down really well. Fingers crossed that, that continues. I mean, any coverage is fantastic. We get onto Sky F1, that'll be amazing. But because obviously it's F1 support, I'm sure it's going to have plenty of coverage, even more than it did when they had the coverage in the first year. I can't remember the figures, but I know there was a lot of kind of viewers and stuff. I believe it was the second most viewed women's sport, just behind the football in the UK. So, stuff. Yeah, no, it was really good.
Oh, that's excellent. I mean, we in the 2019 series, we were watching. I
think we watched most of them.
We watched just about every race, and the quality of racing there was absolutely top notch.
No, it was. It was really competitive. Obviously, the championship went down between Beitsker and Jamie to the wire. I was kind of out of the running really after Norris ring.
She decided to drive over the top of Swan.
Not what happened.
I don't know. I looked at it.
And then obviously the car issues at Norris ring. The 2 DNFs. I was kind of out of the running really, but no, the racing was close. The racing was fantastic, really. Especially, probably my favourite was not just Brands Hatch, but the reverse grid race. It was the test race. The reverse grid one, where there were no points awarded, was pretty fun.
I did. I do remember that. That was
at Assen, I think. Was that on at
Assen?
Assen?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
It was just weird watching cars going around there because you just associate that with a bike track.
Yeah, you do. I'd never been to Assen before, and not many of the tracks W Series I'd been to before actually. In 2019, but Assen, I love that track. It's one of my favourites. Was really good, and for reverse grid races, I like it as well.
Am I right in saying you swap cars as well, so you get drawn to a random car each weekend rather than having your set car?
Yeah, we did in 2019, so I'm not sure how they're going to run it this year. Whether it's going to be the same format, but that was what they did in 2019 was just to kind of swap the cars around, so you didn't have the same car unless you DNF in,
which Alice liked to do.
Which I like to do. I actually kept the same car for half a year.
It's definitely an interesting way of doing that for a spec series. I suppose it really sort of does level the playing field out, and it comes down to showing the driver ability rather than who's got the best engineers, who's got the best aero team, who's got the best mechanics.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's why they did it. Like I said, whether they're going to continue that this year, who knows? But no, it was great format and lots of work to do for the poor livery sticker guys, re-stickering those cars on the weekend. People, but no, it was a great way of mixing it up and a real draw for the series.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing it come back this year because, like you say, it was really close. It was really good to watch, and I mean that's at the end of the day, that's all you want from racing, isn't it?
Just good race.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I think this year is going to be closer and probably tougher. I'd like to think the both of those things. You've got new drivers coming in. I don't know anything or too much about them. I'm not going to go into much detail, but in looking at them, I'm just going to sort of focus on myself anyway. But you're going to have the drivers that are coming back. They're at the front. You've got Meitsker, Jamie, Emma Kimalainen. You've got Marta Garcia as well. That all the ones that were sort of kind of top 5, top 6, you expect to be there again, fighting at the front. So, and who knows what the new kids can do. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to some tough battles. I know it's going to be probably a lot harder than it was in the first year.
No, we'll definitely look forward to that, and we'll be keeping tabs on you, as we will with you, Abby. Who are your major rivals in British F4? Who should we be looking out for this year that you're going to be sailing past at every given opportunity?
So the second year drivers, of course, is who you look at first. There's Roman Belinsky, Matthias Sagazeta, and there's another driver that hasn't signed yet, but he's also a second-year driver looking to do the championship again. So them two are the ones that have been at the top of the time so far in testing, and that's kind of who I'm aiming to beat, I guess. But I'm not kind of looking, as Toto said in Drive to Survive, not looking too far left and right. Focusing on ourselves and doing the best that we can. And so far in testing, it's been really good actually. We haven't actually topped a timesheet yet, but it's doing it when it counts. We've not been far behind, and kind of out of the blocks we're always there, so always consistently there. So I think consistency wise we've kind of been the best so far.
Oh, that's great. Now for anyone that doesn't know, what is the spec round F4 championship sort of engine size, and is it a spec chassis, or do you have to get those? Are they custom made?
So it's a Miguel chassis, and then it's the Ford EcoBoost Z-Tech engine, I believe. I don't know much more about it, to be honest. I think it's a 1.6 litre. It's the top speed you hit around, I think, 130.
130,
yeah, 130. That's kind of as much as I can read.
I'm glad you didn't tell you the top speed was faster. Otherwise, you may have had a few questions to answer there.
yeah.
I think you probably at Thruxton you'd probably get over 130, but
that's what I was thinking.
A good,
nice
little toe.
You definitely, I think you've got 135 before with a toe and stuff. But yeah, no, it's fairly simple. We don't, we have our own cars. It's not like W Series where you swap cars all the time. So I've got my little chassis number 69. It's treating me well.
I was just about to ask you to do a Vettel and name the cars, but now you told me the chassis number. I don't think I dare.
What would you name it?
Oh, I should name it probably like
I don't even want to know what's going to enter your mouth.
I was kind of thinking like short and snappy, like Rooney or something.
Rooney.
Or like, I don't know, something like that.
Is that short and snappy, Rooney?
I don't know how to like sort of an R,
Why has it got to be?
but I can't like Robbie. I don't know. Just quick naming it. Or Joe. Joe.
That
That's my,
doesn't begin with an R.
yeah, but it's my middle name, so it's Joe.
Well,
Oh no, after you then. Oh, look good. Oh no, I'm going to say
You heard it here first.
no, I didn't say that.
I can send Abby into the other room and you can just talk to me.
Sean, you looked like you were about to say something and then just got completely deflated.
Yeah, Abby, I was going to ask, what would you be looking to go on to from F4? What would be the sort of natural progression? And I know there's British F3 as well, but would that be what you would be looking to go on to, or would you look to go maybe the W Series route?
Yeah, so I kind of want to expand, into Europe. I've not really looked too much into British F3. I've obviously done a race in the Frecker car last year, which was, it was quite daunting. My first ever time in a bigger car like that. But, ended up doing all right. I think that's kind of more the route that I'd go. The Frecker, and obviously the W Series car is the same as the Formula Regional car. So I think that direction, W Series, I think it's an amazing platform, and obviously, like you say, it has pretty close racing, and I think it's a really good opportunity on the F1 support as well. So yeah, the exposure is massive, and that's kind of the route that I'm thinking.
I think that's what Oscar Piastri did. He went straight from British F4 to the European, and he's doing all right.
I was going to say he didn't struggle this weekend, did he, in his F2 debut? What advice would you both give to young drivers just starting out? Because we've got a lot of listeners who are looking to actually do more than sort of arrive and drive track days. There's a few serious karters that want to move up. Any advice you can give to them, I think they'd really appreciate.
I mean, like when I first started, I was just there for fun. Like it wasn't so serious. And I think as long as you keep enjoying it, just keep at it, keep trying to improve, and go out as much as you can testing. And that's what I did when I was little Abby. And and then once you kind of start entering bigger championships, and it gets kind of a bit more serious, then just keep kind of doing the same thing. I was still enjoying it. I don't really know what else to say to that. I'm a little driver myself, so Alice is the one that is the old one giving me advice. So she can...
Whether she listens.
I don't know, I'm brick wall sometimes, but
no, you're not too bad. We're being nice to each other now. We need to stop. Yeah.
You never answered it, mate.
You were genuinely asking me the question.
Yeah, what advice would you give to you?
Oh, okay. Same as pretty much what you said, to be honest. It's unfortunately motorsport is an expensive sport. So if anyone you get a lot of young kids that come up at racetracks or with their parents that say, my kid wants to have a go, karting, wants to be a Formula One driver. It's like, well, take them indoor karting first, because some kids might actually not like the driving side of things. If not, there's other routes that they can go down, but the normal route is starting in go-karting and mixing it up there, working up through the levels if you can. And then I always say Ginetta Juniors is a good starting point. Obviously, Abby's been there. I've been in Ginetta Juniors.
And depends how big bill you want to pay, really.
Well, yeah, but if you want to move into cars, then that's sort of the route to go. And then depending on whether you would like to do single-seaters, you can move across the championships like British F4, which you can do from 15. Or you stick out in Ginettas, and then there's many other options.
Yeah, there's Fiesta Junior as well.
Yeah,
like that.
There's lots of different options, really.
No, it does seem good. That I mean, the British motorsport scene at the moment, there's plenty of classes out there, And I guess it all comes down to the problem of finding the right budget, actually being able to afford to do it, because you hear all these stories of drivers that never made it because they didn't have the cash, they didn't have the sponsors, they couldn't afford the repairs. But is that something you both had to go through, sort of finding the sponsorship?
Yeah, I mean, it put me out of racing really for 4 years. So between the years of around about 2014, 2015 until W Series came along, so 4 or 5 years, I was out of racing. The series now. So if you're going to look for Abby, the next step would be after W Series would be something like FIF3. But to race in top teams in FIF3 now, you're looking at anything between 700,000 euros to $1 million, and then Formula 2 is anything between 1.5 to 2 million. Obviously, the latter if you're with a front running team. So it's expensive. It's and obviously, unfortunately, I haven't been lucky enough to win the lottery or have £1 million. Even though I did, when I spent it, I have no savings left because we're all gone on season F3. But unless you're lucky enough to get the sponsors for, from a rich and wealthy family, then unfortunately it's difficult.
Didn't realise F3 cost that much.
That is expensive.
That's FIF3. It's just, the cars are pretty advanced, now compared to let's say for example when I did GP3 when it was back in 2012, the budget is considerably higher now. It's difficult. It is expensive. The route to Formula One is money bags. Really, it is expensive.
And that's why you need the backing of a big team, as you say, from the front, really, because not everybody's got £1 million lying around or, shoved down the back of their sofa.
Exactly. But hopefully there's a lot more teams will start kind of looking down the lower feeder series, if you like, from, let's say, F4, your regional championship, FI3, F2, and hopefully be able to give more support to those younger drivers that are coming up through that might not necessarily have the budget but have the talent, if that makes sense.
I mean, I remember George Russell saying that he was on the verge of having to give up before Mercedes got in touch with him and offered to put him on the programme. And that could be the level of talent that's being missed out on by just not having the cash there for it.
Yeah, I mean, it is literally, there's a talent. Obviously, you need to have the talent to race at the highest level. You can have as much cash as you like, but the talent, will at the end of the day start to shine through. All those in Formula One clearly have the talent. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in Formula One. So, it's a tough sport. It's really difficult. It's really difficult, and it's one of those that probably costs. I would say it's probably one of the most expensive sports in the world for someone like the likes of Abby or myself, who want to progress to the top. Whereas if you're playing football or something like that, you have the talent. You go out and buy your football boots. You've got the travelling to and from your games, etc. But it won't be nothing compared to the price of racing in FIF3 or Formula 2.
I'm just stunned. I'm just still stunned by the F3 cost. I actually thought it was about half that.
I've just put a real whole podcast. This is how expensive. Right, you've got to stop there, Abby.
Can't afford to carry on with the show like this. Right, I suppose we better look back at this F1 thing that happened at the weekend that we've kind of been waiting a couple of weeks for. First race of the season back in Bahrain, and it was pretty good, wasn't it?
It was an actual decent race. I think normally we always build the first race of the season up to be this sort of big mythical event, and then you actually get into it and it ends up being a bit like, oh, it's back. But this lived up to the billing.
It did. Battles all the way to the end, all the way up and down the grid, from 19th right up to 1st. Because
I think it helped. There was a load of great unknowns as well, wasn't there? We really didn't know until the Saturday of the weekend sort of where the order was, where everyone was going to shake out. So right from the top to the bottom, we really didn't have a clue. We had an idea, but we didn't know exactly
we had a vague idea who was going to finish 20th and how.
Oh, it's all right.
I mean, we do have a new game. Just for a little bit of history, going back a few years, we used to have a feature on the podcast called the Pasta Disaster Predictor.
Oh, I already knew it was going in that direction.
And
literally, that was the first thing that came into my head. Like, oh no. Right, anyway.
So yeah, we had the Pasta Disaster Predictor, which was when was Pasta Maldonado going to bin it? And I think this season we are probably going to replace it with when will Nikita Mazep spin? It's the best I could come up with at short notice. Yeah. Or Mazepin. How about that?
Mazepin, yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, that's what he's being called, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, he's actually completed more formation laps than racing laps in Formula One.
Oh my god, that's
too funny.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, no. Oh. Oh yeah, that's not a great statistic to have, is it? Don't let
I know.
do that.
It will probably change. Let's be honest. It will probably it's probably going to swing in his favour quite soon. The other way, but yeah, for for your first weekend in the sport, it's probably not a statistic you want to hold on to too long.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know what has he actually said. What he just lost control. I haven't seen any on social media.
I think
I mean, didn't he? It looks quite hard to drive, to be honest. In all fairness.
Yeah, the Haas is not the quickest car on the grid, is it? Fortunately for them.
Schumacher also spun. Was it a few laps after the restart? Mick Schumacher spun as well. So we can't put it all on Nikita Mazepin. Yeah.
And I think it was actually at the same turn as well. I think it was. I think the both went off at turn 3, but
his was a little bit later. Schumacher,
yeah, Schumacher's was like a corner after. I think 2 corners after.
Right. I was just looking at the angle. Looked the same as where Mazepin went off. But the Haas looks like a difficult car to deal with.
It doesn't look easy. It's a shame with Haas because a couple of years ago they were sort of looking like, especially we're looking at races like Melbourne and stuff where they were fighting, I think, in the top kind of 6, if I remember rightly, until they didn't do the wheel nuts up. Isn't that 2 years in a row?
Yeah, they've done it quite a lot.
But no, but you see that with teams in Formula One. A lot of money is being spent by teams all up and down the grid, and then you can have some small regulation change or something not quite suit the design of the car, and you could say money has been a huge factor for Haas in not being able to develop their car, which is something similar that happened with Williams, in all honesty, as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gene Haas has already said there's going to be no development on the car this season. Which
it's not getting any better, is it?
It's not going to get any better when teams are constantly developing. Teams will be designing next year's car as well, while we speak. So, it's that's not good news for them really.
As well, because they've took on 2 rookies, so they don't have that experience within the team anymore, which I think is also makes it quite difficult.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean,
so then the team's not getting the feedback, are they? If the team's not getting the feedback, then they can't make the cars better for the drivers. So it's difficult both ways, I suppose, having rookies in the car for the team and the drivers.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that they're 2 experienced drivers. They would have learned a lot in Formula 2 in terms of especially tyre management. That is so crucial. You see it in Formula 2. We saw it in Bahrain in the Formula 2 sprint race. In the feature race in Formula 2. But so I have that experience. But yeah, in terms of actually having experience of racing an entire Grand Prix with various pit stops, etc., they don't have that experience. So I think it would have been good for Haas to been able probably to have the option to stick with an experienced driver. But obviously, they can afford to do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't know how much. It was creative editing on Drive to Survive, but basically, with the the conversation that Gunter Steiner was having with Gene Haas, saying, we need to bring sponsor in as soon as possible, and then the next thing he's in Germany meeting with 1&1, which is obviously the German sponsor that
they wanted a German driver.
They wanted a German driver to get Mick Schumacher in the car. And then, obviously, with the... I never know how to pronounce it properly. Uralchem?
Not a clue.
Mazepin's dad's company. He's obviously putting the money in for that to get Nikita Mazepin the drive. And it was a position that was caught between a rock and a hard place, and there was nothing they could do about it, because maybe they could have kept Grosjean or Magnussen on, but would there have been a team if they hadn't have got the money from one of those two backers?
Yeah, that's a thing, and probably not. There probably wouldn't be a Haas, you could say, maybe in Formula One right now.
And we'd have an 18-team grid.
18 teams?
Which would be worse.
18 car grid. It's been
a busy race.
It's been a long day. I've been working on databases all day, so I'm actually on full integers, not pairs. That's an insight into my thrilling life away from this. Shall we move on? Williams next. Did anyone see what Latifi did?
His car just broke. He came in about the same time as Gasly with...
I didn't even know that he broke down. Did he? I was too busy focusing on the race for the lead.
Did he actually break down?
I fell asleep at like 5 laps to go as well.
Abby did fall asleep.
Yeah, he did. He pitted. I think he pitted about 4 or 5
Honestly,
laps.
the most interesting part of the race.
And then it was a bit more
I
before
watched you
that.
fall
No, it was
asleep.
10 laps. It was like 10 laps to go, and then I woke up like 2 laps to go.
I debated whether to wake you up, but I thought I'd just...
I did. I woke up and Jane said... But yeah,
What did happen to Latifi?
I missed the Verstappen. I don't know. I literally didn't pay attention to the whole race.
I think, was it something with a sensor with Latifi? It was a something and nothing kind of breakdown. He wasn't...
I can remember seeing something. He ran wide at one point, and but I don't think that was race ending.
Yeah, hang on. Let me have a look. I should have had something.
I think he was a bit of an also took part.
Yeah,
I don't think he did anything
something
stunning.
from Williams. Pleasantly surprised with how the handling of the car felt in the race. We're expecting something quite tricky to handle, but it was good. I was getting some oscillations in the engine with power, and it seems we had a suspected boost leak.
A boost leak?
Mm.
The boost leak. I read that actually.
An extra hole in his snail trumpet?
Yeah, pretty much.
This is a theory of Chris's. He thinks turbos are snail trumpets.
They pretty much are.
Snail trumpet.
Yeah, they look like snails.
Is it because the turbo is a snail? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, it's not like cars,
What?
like the Disney film.
I know that.
That's not in cars, is it? There's a total...
I've just got the whole thing about the snail being called turbos because it looks like a turbo.
Is it? I haven't seen the film.
I haven't seen the film.
It's not just me. I got accused of being a heathen for not having seen Cars the other day.
Oh no,
I've seen
I've
Cars,
seen
I've
Cars.
not seen
I've not seen Turbo.
Oh right. Oh, in that case, it is just me then.
I'm offended.
You're upset, I know.
I'm going to cry.
One to watch at the weekend.
Right, that'll be this weekend when there's nothing better on. So yes, Latifi had a boost leak as it turns out, and George Russell finished 14th, running in the points for a bit, but he was out of sync with the pit stops. But Williams are looking like they've got a reliable car for this year, which is good to know.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to finally be, not right at the back all of the time. It looks like they've passed that baton on to Haas. But it looks like they might be able to mix it up with the back end of the midfield. Possibility of scoring points if the race pans out in their favour, should we say?
You mean shenanigans? Somebody's got to say
Yeah.
it. Somebody's got to say it. Right. Next is Alpine. Ocon in 13th, and Alonso, who apparently had to retire because of a sandwich wrapper getting stuck in a
What?
duct.
Is that
Actually,
what caused
sandwich
it?
wrap.
That
No, I knew it was debris, but I suppose debris could have been like someone was playing a bit of Mario Kart.
Someone was having a ruin the whole race. Imagine
Nikita
being
Mazepin sandwich.
But yeah, apparently it was it was a plastic sandwich wrapper that that got stuck that made him retire.
like a world champion and you get taken out your first race back because of a sandwich wrapper.
That's a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Oh, yeah. No, that's a bit rubbish. No, that's no, because I thought Alonso was doing a great job.
Yeah,
You know, mixing it
in
up
the points, wasn't it?
in the points for Alpine. No, it was a real shame, really.
Ocon wasn't lucky as well.
Ocon was shunned off by
He got
who had
He
he
said
got
that he-
vettled.
yeah,
he
he
wasn't-
then said that Esteban was moving across the track, but actually
He just drove in a straight line.
Apparently, Vettel did apologise after the race. He did hold his hands up, but yeah, an ambitious blaming.
It's like Abby's looking at me like going, "How can you defend?"
No, I know what you were gonna say.
I'm not defending what Vettel did, but it's when
In
you
the
do
moment.
in the moment something like that. When you first like rage about it, sometimes it's totally different to what actually happened.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it.
I get.
Anyone that plays sport,
No,
like
I get what
professional
you
sport or
mean.
anything, you will understand. Like, if then you see
Yeah.
footage after, and like, why
You're
does
like-
it look like something else? Probably doesn't make us sound very good.
I get what
Better
you
with
mean.
it, and he's a Formula One, you know.
But didn't Senna say it best when he said, "If you no longer go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver"?
I mean,
It's very true.
I mean, he didn't go for
Well-
that. For a gap.
No, he didn't know. He definitely went for the back of the car and got it a bit wrong.
He's checking out the rake.
Yeah, close inspection.
Yeah.
Brakes on this Aston Martin are rubbish.
Yeah, not right. Yeah, but no, I think Alpine are kind of a sort of a solid, I guess, first race apart from a bit rubbish in the breakdown.
I mean, the worrying thing about them is Renault said that they're committed to F1 for eternity. So how long do we give them before they leave again?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Who knows?
Yeah, it's not like the.
I like, you know, I think the more manufacturers you've got on the grid, the better. No, so hopefully they don't leave. It'd be nice to have Aston Martin come in, as in actually
yeah.
have an Aston Martin engine.
I think that was going to happen, but then I realised it didn't.
No.
I mean, maybe they'll buy the rights to the Mercedes intellectual property and start developing it themselves after the next engine freeze finishes.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see more like engines on the grid and stuff. I think it'd be
Yeah, same here.
juicy.
Yeah, it'd be good to have the sort of more engine manufacturers rather than the sort of limited battles we've got now and teams sharing. Because I mean, for a while it used to be very very odd if two teams were using the same engine.
Well, exactly. You've got 18 teams, or no, 19. How have we got? No, 19 cars. Sorry, I was gonna
20
say
cars, 10 teams. What have I started?
Yeah.
And that isn't her strong point if you cut out.
Monday. Is it even Monday? See, you've only the Ferrari, the Mercedes. Obviously, Honda's going to be departing. So then at the end of that, you'll only have three engines on the grid and across all of those cars. So it'd be nice to see some more.
Definitely. I mean, Alfa Romeo, which we've got next, will be a good one to see what they could do if they end up taking over the whole of the Sauber team and becoming becoming the Alfa Romeo team, not the Sauber team sponsored by Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, Chris, as a former Alfa Romeo owner, you would be probably a bit concerned about the reliability of an Alfa Romeo built thing.
I think he's recording. He's calling from his car.
Has he
He's
gone?
broken down.
I keep getting bits of silence, so I didn't realise that was directed towards me.
Sorry.
My Alfa Romeo sat in the driveway. It's fine. It still works.
This week.
Yeah, but it was raining this morning. You better go out and check it.
Rust doesn't matter to this guy. It's post 2000. It's fine.
Might as well talk about Alpha next. Kimi in 11th and Giovinazzi in 12th. Solid by both of them, I'd say.
Yeah, painfully close to the points.
Yes.
Yeah. Solid job by Kimi, who was he getting quite feisty with that on track?
Was it Russell?
It might have been George. Yeah, it was George. Yeah, it was George. Yeah.
I probably asleep.
Yeah, no, you weren't asleep. You were going, oh, George! Silver! No, yeah, he was getting quite feisty. He's still got it, as Kimi. What did he sign he put up? He's been for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
He's still here. It's going to be all of us stuck in our houses for another 20 years. So.
Yeah. I mean, to think Kimi and Alonso made the debuts at the same race 20 years ago.
Oh my god!
Around about the same time Sonoda was born.
He wasn't even born then.
No, I wasn't.
I wasn't even thought of. No, you weren't even thought of. We were going to leave that there. I was 8.
We're getting age jokes going the other way this week. I like this.
Who's the eldest in this on this podcast?
I can neither confirm or deny who that is.
I mean, you, Paul, then, yeah.
Yeah,
I was born in 2000.
Yeah, it would be me. I missed being born in the 1960s by 2 weeks.
Oh, I have to say.
Yeah, what's the saying? I may be old, but I got to see all the cool bands.
There you go. Missed out.
Oh, did you say cool bands?
Yeah.
What did you say? Bands?
Bands. Like,
Bands, BANDS.
Yeah, you get on with my dad. He likes his music.
Yeah, but I like my music.
No, but I mean, like, music from that time.
Oh, God. He's trying not
That was
to.
very polite. That was very, very polite.
I didn't know. This is Abby trying. You're basically saying he's old.
And we're back on familiar ground.
I've been doing so.
So anyway, yes, Kimi, the other old guy. Yeah, I think he's...
Yeah, he had a really good race, didn't he?
He did. He had a good race, and shows that he's even at his age.
He still has it.
He's still got it.
Can teach it.
It's just a number.
Can teach an old dog.
No, don't even. No. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you're supposed you can. But he's always had the skills.
No, he's a cool driver. I really like him. The fact.
I mean, going on what Mika Salo said, the Alfa Romeo should be a bit faster this year now that Ferrari are allowed to give the engine the, what do we say, full amount of fuel at the right flow rate. So I reckon we'll be seeing them challenging for points pretty often this year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd like to see that, because obviously we want more teams.
Kimi.
Yeah, we like watching Kimi.
More Kimi.
Like his radio message. What did I see? There was something.
He was like, "I can't hear you," and then he was like, "Oh, I can hear you," and then he was replying, so they could hear each other. They can't hear each other.
They were responding to each other, but apparently they couldn't hear each other.
His radio messages, obviously.
Yeah.
And Giovinazzi, with Kimi's obviously experience, is doing a good job, finishing just behind him as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely picked up so much over the last couple of seasons, and I think he's learnt a lot from Kimi. And there were times when his future was looking a little bit patchy, but I think he's maturing into a good, stable driver. And it's that problem with F1 that there has been for a while. You've got to be instantly fast. You don't have time to mature and develop. And it looks like between Ferrari and the Sauber Alpha group, they've given him the time to do this, and now he's in his third season with the team.
Yeah,
it's it's showing, it's starting to pay dividends, and maybe taking the opposite approach to Red Bull actually does work.
You could say, yeah. No, I think he's doing a great job, and it be like I said, I like seeing more teams challenging for the points, and hopefully more teams challenging for the win in the near future.
I think
It's nice to know. Yeah, it's
we're
nice.
going to see that this year.
I think so. Yeah,
With McLaren and Ferrari being they were quite quick, weren't they?
yeah. I mean, well, you just look at the gaps in the races, you'd think not, but I think still they're closer than probably I thought it was going to be. I always go at the start of the season, everyone says, "Oh, we're going to have a battle," and it never happens. But actually, now I think we could have a nice.
There was a really close race between three cars. I can't remember who it was. Like Alonso, Sainz, and someone else, Vettel, I think it was, and that was a really.
Yeah, because I remember at one point Alonso and Vettel were battling. It's like, oh, it's like 7-8 years ago all over again.
Yeah, no. He was in Ferrari at the time.
All
wasn't he?
three of the drivers were in Ferrari, so that's Sainz, Vettel, and Alonso. They're all Ferrari drivers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the progression of that seat, isn't it? Alonso got binned for Vettel, and then Vettel got binned for Sainz.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool. Maybe Ferrari made it have like a little photo, like, oh, look, we've done. We've still got 3 of our drivers now.
That made for great publicity. Now, if Mick Schumacher had driven up to join them,
There's the next one.
there's the next hero. What have we got next? Aston Martin next on the list. Seb in 15th, and Lance in 10th. That was a weekend from hell for Vettel, wasn't it?
Yeah, hard to know where he would have been, wasn't it? Really?
5 points in the first race weekend.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to run the whole season.
That is not ideal.
He's got behaved himself. Yeah, now. Naughty boy.
Yeah, I mean, what was it?
Yeah, it had qualifying, wasn't it? And then the obviously that put him in that position for the race, which meant he had to fight through from the back. Had he got a qualifying lap in without the yellow flags, or ignoring them, he might have not had that battle with Ocon, who may have finished in the points with his teammate, but he didn't.
No, that's how he got the penalty in qualifying. But then he got a penalty. But it wasn't actually 5 places because he didn't qualify high enough to get the full 5 places, which I found funny at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he has a bad weekend, he really goes all out and has the worst weekend he can do. You don't get much middle ground with him. He's not dull.
Was Seb not the one that, like, a few years ago when he was in Red Bull, both of his front wheels popped off?
No.
Oh.
I think was that Buemi?
I think that was
yeah.
Sebastian Buemi in China, wasn't it? I think.
No, I think it might have been. Yeah, he hit the brakes and both wheels just flew off into the distance.
It is a gif for like every sporting disaster.
Amazing. It's like,
It wasn't amazing.
it lives in my head rent free, that video.
Like, it must take up the entire space.
It does. It really does. There's not much more going on.
And then, of course, Lance Stroll in 10th. We've had mixed opinions about Lance Stroll. About, is there more to him than the point and squirt, can accelerate, brake, and do a 90-degree turn, and then set off again for the next one kind of driver?
To be fair,
We've now got 2 real drivers on here. What's your opinion on Lance Stroll?
I think he's proven the haters wrong. And, like, to be fair, I was someone that was kind of like, oh, he's bought into it. But then, like, to be fair, I think he's done quite well for himself the last 2 years, or this year, and then last year. I think he did really well. You can't.
He does seem
give
to
too
have
much
settled
stick.
in really
Yeah.
nicely into one, and at this stage, obviously, you can't go out and be like, oh, let's chuck loads of tyres at it, like you can in some of the junior formulas. And he's got a strong teammate to compare himself against, and he's been sort of matching. But you can say this weekend he surpassed kind of Vettel in on track, and last year had a good year. Yeah, he got his pole last year, his first ever pole last year, and I think he's really matured as a driver and settled into Formula One quite nicely.
So, I mean,
It helps that he had the Sorry, Paul, go on.
I was going to say the main thing that got levelled at him, just sort of taking out all the bought his way in aside, that Baku was just the ideal circuit for him because it was a big square and then a bit of a curvy bit afterwards. And he was making all his time up on the big square bits where it was just gas, brake, turn, gas, brake,
Monza
turn.
the same.
Yeah. But he appears to be improving on the technical circuits a lot more now. And
He's obviously Formula One is a big step for any driver, and he go from F3 straight up to?
I think he did.
Yeah, I think it was European F3.
Yeah.
Which he was champion in, wasn't he, I think?
In F3 he was. Did he do F2?
He did F2.
Where did he finish?
I don't know, but I know he didn't.
No.
I thought he went straight up.
I thought he went straight up. I hope you're wrong.
I hope you're wrong.
I'm sure he went
You're
straight
ginger, shut up.
No, he went straight from F3 to F1.
Was he champion the year before Lando Norris?
Yeah, he was champion 2016, and I didn't know that. He also finished 5th at the 24 Hours of Daytona that year.
I didn't even know that he did Daytona.
Nope, me neither.
So he still had, he might have bought his way into Formula One through his dad's money, but he earned his stripes in racing before his dad decided to plow all this money into a seat and then a team, where he was always going to place his son anyway. I think Lance Stroll, the racing driver, came before Lawrence Stroll, the Formula One investor.
Yeah, I mean, he does get a lot of stick, but I think, it's not easy to drive a Formula One car, and I think he's, proven people wrong the last, few races that he's done, to be fair to him.
And we're some of those people, to be honest with you, because when he was at Williams, it was a little bit like, who's this guy? What's he doing?
Yeah, no, I think everyone was kind of like that at the start, though, because, his dad was a big investor into Williams at the start, but then, I mean, he seems to have, kind of, I think he's got that mindset of wanting to prove people wrong as well, which, fair enough to him. Like, as a driver, you can kind of think what they're thinking, and obviously he sees what's said online, and I'm
obviously from what you were saying before as well.
I'm assuming his mindset is, I want to go out there and show people that, I'm not just someone that's bought into it. I'm here and I deserve to be here as well.
Yeah, and obviously from what you were saying before as well, Alice, with the amount of cost that it takes to get to Formula One, having a dad that's a multi-billionaire, you're not going to say no if he wants to, pay for you to go up to, make that next step up.
Exactly. He's not going to say no, and it's some people it takes longer than time than others, and he's obviously fortunate enough to be able to still have the opportunity to be racing, and you can see that now it's really helping him.
I think qualifying as well has been a big progression for him as well. I think was it the year before last when he seemed to keep getting eliminated in Q1 and Perez was always much further ahead. But he seems to have picked it up now, which will help him a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something that is it something that you can work on your 1 lap pace, or is it something that's really hard to get out of bad habits of, just doing a sort of 1 lap, 1 shot qualifier?
No, you can work on it. Obviously, the things that are out of your control, really, like track conditions, traffic, yellow flags. We saw the likes of Esteban, who would have definitely got out of into Q2, I would have thought, but unfortunately got held up by, was it Nikita Mazepin that's after
I think it was, yeah.
So you've got stuff that's out of your control, but in terms of actually pace and dialing into a lap, that's something that you can definitely work on and master to get right, because you've obviously got just 1 lap to do it in the instance of Formula One with the soft tyres. Yes, it is a skill, and develop that.
This is a question that I always like to ask drivers as well. I've had a variety of different answers from a variety of different people. How do you go about learning a track?
Just send it.
The old Colin McRae method of if in doubt, flat out.
Right, everyone in our iRacing League, watch out for me next Sunday. You heard it on here.
You see Abby go to a track that she's
And
never
I'm just
been to,
completely
and
just
she
screaming to a wall.
So you know that's how. Simulators, simulators these days are a big one to. You can get a lot of cool content kind of online. Let's say R Factor 2, iRacing. The tracks can be pretty good. So that, but in terms of Formula One, they've got state of the art, laser scanned track, and will have incredible set. The car will be pretty much identical to that's on track. So they were able to sort of learn the tracks pretty well. Watching onboards is another one. Any track notes from anyone that you can get track notes from people. Abby and I will both write our own sort of track notes of any tracks that you've been to that are new. You can then take over to the track if you sort of go there again. It does actually learning at the track, simulator, and onboards really.
It just always amazes me that you get a new track coming into a series, and you get drivers on there that they just sort of get in the car and they're instantly quick, and it's like it's. I've always been in awe of this skill, and it's just like some superhuman quality.
It's definitely got easier with the simulators that are out there and available, and stuff that's available online now. And especially, like I said, Formula One, they've got great simulators. They spend a lot of money and put a lot of effort into getting the track spot on with laser scans, etc. But for the lower formulas, for example, with myself or Abby, using just basics, say like R Factor 2. Some people use Assetto Corsa. Some people even go on iRacing and learn tracks using that way. So that's how I'll be learning the new circuits for me this year. I'll be using R Factor 2. That's the thing what I'm going to be using.
One of the few racing sims I've not tried. I'm going to have to give that one a go at some point.
No, I quite like it. I quite like R Factor. It's got the same car that I'll be using a W Series on there. So whether it gives sort of the same feel, but for me, it's just going to be learning the circuits really, learn sort of where it goes and using onboards. The team that Abby raced for, they have a really good simulator, JHR Developments. They've got a sim, so Abby spends a lot of time up there. Even though you know the circuits, it's just good to
refresh,
to have a
muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly.
That is great. I mean, this is coming from somebody who struggles to learn an oval.
Maybe you should just stick to straight lines.
Yeah. Drag racing.
Yeah. Virtual drag racing. That's the future. Right, I suppose we better get back to reviewing the race. Where are we next? AlphaTauri. Gasly ended up finishing in the pits, classified as 17th, and Tsunoda finished 9th on his debut. He's a bit quick, isn't he?
Abby's a big Tsunoda fan, aren't you?
So Tsunoda come out of nowhere. Like for me, like I saw him last year in F2, and I was like, "Oh, where did he come from?" And then he, came third in his rookie season. I was really impressed with this, and Alice just finds it funny that I always go on about him, but I think he's a really good driver.
I think he's a really good driver. I like him.
He went quickest in pre-season testing, didn't he? At Bahrain, and then he went second quickest in FP2 or whatever it was. He did. I know he didn't do as well as he wanted in the race, but I think he's quite a good guy.
No, I don't. I just wind you up, Abby. I do buy it. But no, I think especially he did an interview. I mean, I don't know any of your listeners have Sky Sports F1, but he did an interview after the race on Sky Sports, and it was really good. He seemed such a cool guy as well.
Yeah, no, I think,
and he was so humbled that he was racing the likes of Alonso. He said, like, I was racing Alonso, and I was like, oh my god,
he did look like a little kid in a shop.
Exactly, that's exactly what he looked like.
No, I think I saw a post, and it was like, I think Yuki is officially the most liked F1 driver. Like, you can't hate him.
No, I think he did great job, and it's nice to see him racing in F1.
Yeah, I mean, for a debut weekend, it was fantastic. I think, was it Q1 he was running fastest in at some point as well?
He was looking really good in Q1.
And Gasly was looking good as well, but
I don't think he put a foot wrong all weekend.
what, Gasly or Tsunoda?
Tsunoda, I don't think Tsunoda put a foot wrong all weekend.
To be fair, he crashed on the first lap, I think, and lost the front wing.
No,
yeah, he
that's
lost the
Gasly.
Oh, was it? Oh,
It's Gasly, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know then.
yeah, Gasly lost the front wing, and that kind of ruined everything for him.
Yeah, I think it was damage from that ultimately meant he retired later in the race. Quite a bit later in the race. I think it was only about 4 laps from the end.
It was late enough to be classified.
Yeah, I think he had floor damage or something else along those kind of lines, and just couldn't make it to the end, unfortunately.
I was a bit upset for Gasly because he was looking strong again, and he's been great since he went back to Toro Rosso, AlphaTauri, not Red Bull. I'm just waiting to find out what they're going to call themselves for the rest of this season. There's probably another name change in the offing.
Gasly going back to AlphaTauri, that's how you say it, was kind of like one of those where the pressure was a lot different for him. Obviously, being in Red Bull themselves, the pressure is immense, and you're up against obviously Max Verstappen. And I think when he went back to Alpha, it was kind of one of those right. I'm just going to prove you wrong. The pressure's off.
I was going to say.
I'm having this shot, and I'm going to sort of take it and say this is what you're missing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's kind of that again, similar to the Stroll thing, just trying to prove people wrong.
I mean, now he's got the first win under his belt, which was something that he couldn't do in a Red Bull for whatever reason, be it pressure, be it the car was not suited to his driving style and more suited to Max's. That's going to be, I think the cork's out now with him, and he's only going to get better. Can't wait to see him in the Alpine next year when they take him on as their French driver when Ocon's contract's up. I'm convinced.
You are absolutely sold on that.
I am completely sold on the fact that Ocon won't be in an Alpine next year, and they will move heaven and earth to get Gasly.
There you go. You've heard it here first.
I'm not convinced. They have some good F2 drivers, Alpine.
They do. They were running
Oh yeah, that is really
first, second, and third. Was it during one of the races?
Yeah, they locked out a podium.
true.
Watch his face.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, maybe they'll end up with a 2-team company.
Might need it.
Do.
Yeah, I think get extra 2 cars on the grid, and they can run their own junior team.
Yeah, I like.
If it makes the grid bigger and there's more racing, I'm all in favour of that.
Same. I mean, Red Bull have done it, and they've got competitive cars, so why not? You could say Ferrari have technically done it with the Alfa Romeo. Yeah.
Mercedes have kind of done it with last season's Racing Point.
Mercedes, everyone. Yeah, so no, it'd be good to see. I'm always up for seeing more cars on the grid.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't get to like ridiculously, NASCAR levels of 60 starters or something.
No.
See, I think they should make a new team called AP Racing, and then me and Alex are the drivers.
Watch it.
Well, if you need a title sponsor, we can put our name to it, and I'm sure if our Patreon subscribers dig their hands into the pockets a bit deeper, we'll be sorted.
Yeah, come on, guys, don't be so tight now.
So remember, if you want to own your own Formula One team, all you have to do is subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, exactly.
The top tier of $5 million a year.
It will take a dint out of the biscuit budget, though.
I'd say everyone's faces on the side.
You can have your face £5 million a year on the side of.
I was just going to ask what would it take to get our logo on one of your cars, but I don't think I dare.
To be fair, if I was a billionaire, sod it. I would get my face on the side of that Mercedes.
I'd get the NASCARs and I'd put my face on top of them. So, you see them going.
Where are we next? Ferrari. Sainz 8th on his debut and Leclerc 6th. That is the strongest all-round Ferrari performance we've seen in, I think I had short hair then.
But I still get excited.
Yeah, I'm a big Charles fan. awesome.
This is going to be a bit. This is going to be a bit of a first for us because Leclerc has had a good result, and his biggest fan isn't on the show this week, so we're only going to be nice about him.
But yeah, he was good.
Yeah, Lee, who's missing from the show, is a big Charles Leclerc critic.
I think critic is putting it kindly.
He's not convinced that Charles Leclerc is the driver that everyone says he is. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's unconvinced, isn't he, by Leclerc's speed?
I think that year that obviously everyone's going to say it's
His first year in it.
2019 in Ferrari.
I thought it was 2017.
No, when he was with Ferrari, and he
2019, it was his first year in Ferrari.
The Monza victory and everyone's saying obviously with the Ferrari's engine or the oil, whatever it was going on with it, but I think that's when I was like, wow, this kid is great. I like him. I don't know why.
Yeah,
not think
I think
he's
he's
a good driver.
Neither do
shame.
we, to be
Lee-
fair. I don't think we quite know why Lee doesn't like Leclerc.
Well, Lee's logic is that he was only looking good in a Ferrari that A, was cheating, and B, had a broken Sebastian Vettel in it, and that's what made Charles Leclerc look really good. I said, yeah, but he won races. You don't win races if you're not a good driver. It doesn't matter what car you're in.
And he had a good time at Alpha as well.
He did, yeah.
Sauber, was it still called Sauber then?
I think it was still Sauber.
It was still Sauber then. So, no, I think he's I'm looking forward to this Leclerc and Sainz battle because
that's going to be good.
I think it's a good battle.
I think they're quite evenly matched.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 6th and 8th, Leclerc was nearly sort of 10 seconds down the road from him. So, but I'd like to see close battles between them. I think it's a very strong showing really for Ferrari.
I think it'll be one of those that's flip-flops throughout the season. I think there'll be races where Leclerc looks like the stronger of the two, and then Sainz will have a good run, and then it'll flip-flop, and should be a good one.
They have said that there's no number one driver, to be fair, this year, which I think, having two very evenly matched drivers, you can't really before the season place one on top of the other, really.
No, I think if they take it that whoever's fastest on the day gets the priority, which is something that Ferrari haven't tended to do for a long time. But if they take it that way, I think they can have the best season that they've had for 5-6 years.
Yeah, I like
Easily,
to see
yeah.
Ferrari. Mix it up.
Yeah, I think they'll be fighting for wins at some point. There'll be circuits that suit them. There'll be circuits that suit both drivers.
Maybe a sprint Grand Prix or sprint races we're going to hopefully see.
I mean, they should be interesting when they come in. I think Silverstone's the first one.
Apparently.
Silverstone, and they're planning on doing. Did I hear Monza? They're planning on doing one.
And Brazil is, I think, the last one.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, now Monza would be a good one to do to not have the qualifying at Monza because that's just been an absolute cluster for the last couple of years.
Yeah, it has.
At least if you're going for a tour, do it in racing.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see. Maybe they could win one of those. Who knows?
Yeah, never know. We may well get to hear Carlos sing "Smooth Operator" again before much longer.
Italian.
Smooth Operator in Italian. If anyone's got a translate, no, don't.
Yeah, please don't.
No, I've had enough of hearing the Rosbergian national anthem played back to me over the last couple of weeks. We came up with the national anthem of Rosbergia, which was a mashup of all three national anthems of the countries that Nico Rosberg's raced under their flags. It doesn't sound nice.
Oh no!
If you're lucky, I won't play it for you later.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah. McLaren, another debutant here. Danny Rick finishing 7th and Lando up to 4th. I like this year's McLaren. It's quick.
It does look quick, doesn't it?
I said that McLaren are going to have a good race. I made some predictions, and literally 2 minutes later, predictions happened, which was that Red Bull are going to have a failure, which happened in the half. But the McLarens, I also predicted we're going to have a good race, and they ended up doing that. So.
However, I did say at the start of the race when we all sat there on the sofa and who's going to win, I said Hamilton. I should put a bet on it.
I mean, it's not. It's like the odds. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
It's not
you guys said Verstappen, and I was like, I haven't.
I said if he doesn't have a failure, they ended up having a failure.
It's only on one car. Max was
Well,
doing
he
okay.
had the slipped in it, the diff,
Yeah.
one of the. I don't know.
But anyway, I'm totally off subject.
It's not good.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show. I said you'd fit right in. Yeah, the McLaren looks good. Danny appears to be getting to grips with it fairly quickly.
He does?
I mean, it's the first time that he's driven a Mercedes, I do believe.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Flipping.
Yeah, no.
I think so. First time he's raced it, yeah.
Yeah. Would have. No, I think we're going to have an interesting sort of battle. I think there was, again, on Sky F1, Lando did a post-race interview
Yeah.
with Karun, and Karun asked him, who is there like a rivalry and who's going to sort of be the number one? And Lando answered it really well and was kind of like, obviously, you want to beat your teammate, but you just want to get high up the grid. And I think there will be that sort of where they really do push each other throughout the season. And obviously, we know Danny Rick can be so fast. So I'm looking forward to see how that inter-team battle sort of pans out.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be quite a good one there between them two this year, and you know we've seen they're both fast, and now they've got a good car behind them. You know, I think we might see a McLaren win a race this year. Couldn't tell you which one of them it's going to be, but I think we'll see a McLaren on the top step at some point.
It'd be good to see.
I mean, it'd be great to see Lando win, but it'd be awesome to see Danny Rick.
Yeah.
After,
Win again. Yeah.
win again.
That'd be awesome.
Either
Time
of them would be fantastic.
it would be. See the shoey.
Right, the team that Danny got did all his shoes with, Red Bull. I thought we'll do the top two teams at the same time, I reckon, because
There's overlap, isn't
there was
there?
overlap and there was nothing to separate Lewis and Max at the end of the race.
Except track limits.
Well, yes. Now,
I think
now again, this is great with having you two on here. What are your thoughts on the whole track limits situation?
Well, Abby can't comment on about the race because she was asleep. But I saw it. I love track. Have your tracks like, let's say, Brands Hatch GP, Zolder, those sort of kind of tracks, your Imola, places like that.
Yeah.
We're going to chuck Mugello into that, where you know where the track limit is, because if you go too far over, you are in the gravel.
Yeah.
And I think, it should go. I'd love to see more tracks like, on the calendar, or tracks sort of try and change stuff like this, where, okay, if you go over, you are going to end up in the gravel, or, shouting out to sort of Jonathan Palmer here, with his MSV circuits that he has in the UK. So your likes of Snepperton, Brands, Alton Park, those sort of circuits. Donington is his now. He has track limit sensors. So if you do go over, you will set the sensor off. And I think if there's a rule about track limits, it should be policed. It clearly wasn't really being policed in terms of, let's say, Lewis taking advantage of it during the race. I think, what did you say, Abby? You just read somewhere before we started.
He went off 20. Oh, what?
Was it Bottas or Hamilton?
Hamilton went off 29 times in the race.
That is
Yeah.
nuts.
So,
He did get a warning for it. He did get a radio message saying not to do it. But by that time, he'd already used it 29 times. So are they going to police it or are they not policing it? Why did they start policing it halfway through the race?
using Abby's championship as an example, if that was British Formula 4 at, let's say, Brands Hatch, or even at Silverstone, like the Cops Corner you can abuse, they have someone there. It's judge of facts compared to a censor Silverstone. But the drivers get told, okay, you have two times. At the start of the race, there's no track limits. 2 times after that, and then you get a warning, and then you will get a 5-second penalty, then a 10-second. So, yeah, even if they're implying it or enforcing it in the lower formulas, there's no reason why they can't sort of enforce it in Formula One. I get why that particular corner that they can't have track limit sensors, but you've got enough people that can be there to watch and be a judge of fact and say, okay, this person's gone off this amount of times. We need to give them a warning. If not, you'll start getting. I think the rule needs to be a bit clearer.
I was going to say, I think that the penalty to Verstappen was just because he overtook off the track, but then if he got the penalty for that, Hamilton should have also got a 5-second penalty for going off the track prior. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because I think Max,
to make it fair,
Red Bull said to Max, right, Hamilton's been going off at whatever turn, I can't remember the turn name.
Turn 4, I think.
So you can do it, and Max was even like, but that's track limits.
Yeah.
So why has he not got a penalty?
And then Hamilton at the end of the race was like, I don't know why I got a warning, or because I was doing it the whole race, and then Bono was like, I don't think that's something you should admit. And he said that. Remember it? So it's, I don't know.
I mean, maybe Lewis was jealous that he didn't get to do the Squoval at the end of last season, so he kept thinking maybe I'll have a run at it this time, because that's the turn that you go onto the outer loop for.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe just got confused every time he went down. He's like, where do I go?
Alice, have you ever been to a race meeting where they changed the track limits halfway through the weekend or through a session? Ever?
I don't. I've been at race weekends where they have put yellow like sausage massive curbs.
Yeah.
And you've gone out for a session. Someone's told me, and then you go out and they are right near the edge. But I've never had it. That's to stop people using track limits. They've just drilled in loads of curbs halfway through the day.
So it just fly away if you take them.
Yeah, you just fly if you take them or abuse them. But I've never had it where they've changed it. Not that I can think of through a race weekend. But over here in the UK, you
can't really abuse track limits anyway, because you would just be on the grass.
And even then, at a race weekend, let's say at Silverstone, you get judge of fact at Cops. So,
and there are sensors as well for it.
Yeah, in MSB circuits.
Yeah, it just seems to me that it's the FIA here who are the real, villains who should have their fingers pointed at them, because all through, through from what you're telling us and from all the evidence that I'm reading elsewhere, everywhere in the lower formulas, it gets policed quite strict, but then you get to the top echelons of the sport, and then all of a sudden, we'll change it between this session and that session, and then maybe halfway through the race. It just seems a very strange thing to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'd like to see it be, and I'm sure the rest of the drivers on the grid, for example, Max, I'm sure he is probably going, well, how the hell can Hamilton do it for, all those number of laps? He was shocked on the radio when his engineer told him. I'm sure he would be one that's saying, well, we need a much clearer rule, and if you do abuse it, you should get a penalty. So, Imola, you can't really abuse it too much at Imola, so I think we'll be all right there.
I think the best description I've heard about keeping within track limits, I can't even remember who said it was, but it was, you wouldn't do it at Monaco.
Yeah, well, exactly. You 100% would not do it in Monaco. So, yeah, basically every circuit just needs a metal barrier right next, all the way. Like,
sounds safe.
Yeah, that's Martin Brundle's thing, isn't it? Martin Brundle says that they wouldn't do it if the barrier was there, so they shouldn't do it anyway.
Yeah, get everyone to do a lap around the TT course as part of the super license qualification. You go outside track limits day. You're in somebody's living room.
I was going to say, yes. I'd be cool if that was me.
So onto the performances now. Perez in 5th did his usual for Bahrain, as it's become over the last 2 races around this configuration. Start at the back and then work his way up. Didn't quite get the win this time, but from the pit lane to 5th place, he got driver of the day, and you can't really argue with that performance.
No, it makes you wonder what he would have done, doesn't it? Had he not had that failure on the formation lap, where would he actually have been in the race? Because that was a stunning drive.
It was. It's he likes doing that, doesn't he?
I was gonna say,
But no, yeah, like you said, who knows where that Red Bull looks fast. Looks good. Didn't have the greatest of qualifyings, must be said, did Perez, but he came back through after a failure or whatever it was. I don't know. It sorted itself, it seems. But no, it's another one that I was really intrigued to see how he'd get on. Not a great qualifying, as I mentioned, but looking forward to seeing him through the rest of the season. And I'd just love to see him chucked up there and have, a four-way fight, you could say, of Bottas. He was quite a way behind Hamilton, Bottas was, but it'd be nice to see if he could even close that gap. Bottas would finish 37 seconds off the lead. I know he pitted again.
yeah, but the pit, remember, he lost 8 seconds in that front right stretch, innit?
And he pitted an extra one to get fastest lap, I presume.
Yeah, he did. He came in penultimate lap to get his last remaining fresh set of tyres. Sean's just headbutting microphones on the way back from the kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do we find
Bottas had a free pit stop back to Norris, didn't he? The gap was so big.
Yeah, I think he came out and he was still 8 seconds clear. But I mean, with Perez, are we actually going to see someone who isn't Max be able to tame the second Red Bull car?
I think Perez is, he's been in F1 for quite a while now. I think he's very experienced. I think I hope he'll be able to get closer than everyone else. I think he is, out of the last 2 drivers that have been in it, with his experience again, he's the one that's most likely to be able to be on Max's tail.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky seat. It's the ultimate poison chalice in F1. Well, that and Ferrari team principle.
But once he actually got going yesterday, he looked the business.
Yeah.
Fought his way back through the field really well, seemed to get on really well with the car, so hopefully better qualifying, no drama on the parade lap, and he'll be up there.
Yeah. So next we have Bottas in third. Now, what version number Bottas are we on to now? Because he was 2.0 last season. Does this make him 2.1, 3.0?
7 probably by now. I've lost count.
6.66, the Bottas of the Beast?
Something like that.
I mean, he was the second fastest Mercedes again. I don't know where he was. I don't know where he was losing time. All the claims from other people at the start of the year. Oh, this is his year. This is going to be his year to do it. I mean, all right, Hamilton's not normally that quick out the blocks, but by God, he was this time. And I think, unfortunately for Valtteri, it's another season of him being the wingman.
I hope not. I mean, I'd like to see him. I think he is a good driver. Like I said, everyone in Formula One, they're there for. Obviously, you get some that are there. They've got money, but they're there as well because they are good drivers. They wouldn't be there if they weren't. But yeah, I'd like to see him. I really just hope that he can close that gap to Lewis for whatever reason. I don't know what happened in the race. Obviously, as Abby mentioned, that he had that penalty, but for some reason he just couldn't close that gap. And I don't know why, and it really frustrates me because I just want to see him do well. I want to see him. I mean, having Perez, if you imagine a four-way scrap between the Mercedes and the Red Bulls. Obviously four cars fighting the win. So that's probably one of the main reasons why I'd love to see him sort of close the gap as well.
After watching the 5, I gained so much respect for Bottas to understand what his mindset is, and just watching that, I was like, he means the business. He just needs to, I don't know, try and extract it all for himself.
Yeah, and if we can have less sauna shots next year as well, please. So then we get on to the top 2. That was the closest race we've had in a while.
Very close.
I was stood up at the end of the race. I don't stand up off the couch for the end of the race very often. I was stood up. I was that excited.
I was out of it.
Contrasting takes
Abby was
there.
asleep.
sleep.
I was,
Yeah, but be tired another time. It was exciting. No, it was what, 7 tenths or something. The gap.
yeah,
Um,
I saw that part.
obviously, yeah, you saw the end. But no, I mean, Max did he? He did overtake off track, and I think he probably would have ended up getting a penalty. Christian Horner said that they got the call from the FIA to let him back through, so he sort of had no choice to do it. But it would have been nice to see lots of defending going on that last lap. But that's just me now sounding like wanting more, when actually it was a really thrilling end to the race, and super exciting. And I just hope that there's more to come.
And if it hadn't been for Perez's steering wheel or power conking out, we'd have had an extra lap.
Yeah, exactly.
I hadn't thought of that. Denied.
Blame Perez.
Yeah, somebody sent that to me today. I think it's already been posted on Formula Dank on Reddit. But I mean, that was just one hell of a way to start the season.
It was a really good way to start. And I just hope that, the likes of like Imola and Monza and all these other great circuits that we've got coming up can sort of bring even better racing.
Definitely. Right, what we normally do at the end of a race, and we're not going to change it for this year, is we used to call it Heroes and Villains of the Weekend. However, in honour of Gunter Steiner, it's been renamed to Rockstars and Wankers. So,
Okay.
this weekend's Rockstars. Perez, definitely.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with the regulations for this year for the aero, for closer racing.
Yeah.
That's Sonoda for awesome debut.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Definitely Yuki Tsunoda.
Nice. I think he did a good job.
Yep, I'd agree with that. Yeah, there's a few some fans at the circuit as well, so that's a positive.
Except
Could we
for
call
the
whoever let the fans in rock stars?
Yeah, I think so.
except for the one who had the sandwich.
I was going to say, I'm moving on, moving on to wankers. The inadvertent wanker was the sandwich owner.
Yeah. Who's that?
Yeah.
Well, she should.
Track limits.
Oh yes.
We'll go for definite wanker this time.
Also, more so not the track limits themselves, the race direction. I think more than anything, choosing to pick and choose when they're going to police it was the real poor move. I think on their part, they should have been policed the whole time or not at all.
Yeah. Checo's steering wheel.
Yeah. The steering wheel and then the sandwich wrapper. We've already said that needs to be thrown into that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put Mazepin in there because it's his debut.
That's a bit too harsh.
It's his debut. The car's going to be a bit crap. He's going to struggle. However, I reserve the right to dump him into the wanker category in future races if he does constantly spin.
Okay.
Oh, Bottas's wheel gun.
Oh
You
yes.
could put Abby in there for falling asleep.
Yeah, Abby, honorary wanker, and I've never called a guest that before.
It's a huge honour.
In that case,
Right,
in that case, Alice, honorary rock star for nominating Abby.
Oh, this is how we're going to be ranked for the rest of our life.
But yeah,
yeah.
amazing way to start the season, and I'm glad we've got. If the racing's going to be that quality all year, I'm glad we've got 23 races this season.
Let's hope that we've not really reached our peak.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Let's hope we really have peaked early.
Yeah, the only thing I'm gutted about is 3 weeks until the next one.
It's a long wait.
Particularly compared to
You
last
can go
year.
into the category for making us all feel depressed.
I was going to say I was going to be asleep, so I was sleeping.
Right, Lee's not here this week, who normally does the total shunt.
Oh, are you going to quiz us?
But I'm gonna quiz you all. Right, for
An explainer is needed.
an explainer is needed for the benefit of Team AP. See, I do read your tweets. What we have is it's a quiz. It's about something related to motor racing, usually Formula One, but not always. There are 10 questions.
Oh, no.
These have been sent in by listeners. 10 questions. 10 clues to the thing, and we usually get a guess after clue 3, clue 6, and clue 10. So you've got to see if you can guess what it is. This was sent in to me by Paul Carter in New Zealand.
So I think as well, just for a bit more background, it's not always a person. It's been a team. It's been fictional.
It was
racing.
It was
drivers.
Herbie last week.
It's been Helmut Marko's Glass Eye, one of the all-time classics of Who's a Total Shunt. So yeah, it could be anything.
It could literally be anything. So,
and Paul has this written down in front of him, but me and Chris can't see it, so we will also be playing along. And probably not be any help.
Right. Okay.
You're at night.
Clue number 1. I was conceived
Oh, what?
in 1996.
Christ.
Definitely wasn't me.
That's a really detailed start.
Rules me out as well. Second clue. Steve Nichols had the original idea and I was approved by Paddy Lowe.
Alright, this is a thing then.
And I appeared in 5 Grand Prix.
What was that?
I appeared in 5 Grand Prix.
What, like 5 Grand Prix or just 5? What?
The clue is I appeared in 5 Grand Prix. 5. I think it's 5 different races. So, I need your first guess.
Oh, God.
Is it? It could be a team. What is that, like short-lived teams?
No, it's not going to be a team.
Chris, are you still there? You're good at...
Oh, wait, no. It's not going to be a song. No, right, okay. No, because like a dog's ran into like shop before, hasn't it? 5 times, but it wouldn't have been conceived in 1960, would it?
Was it
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, you are back. That's good.
1996.
1996.
Yeah.
1996.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Chris, had you disappeared for the clues?
Has he disappeared again?
Oh, God.
I was going to say. He's gone.
Oh,
he's back.
He's back. He's back on the chat.
Yeah, I was here for the clues. I heard the clues. Paddy Lowe in the mid-90s is going to be Williams possibly before he moved to McLaren. Be something from a Williams car, I think, possibly.
I was thinking it's got to be something.
What's this? What's the second clue again? Is it that?
Steve Nichols had the original idea, and I was approved by Paddy Lowe.
Is it the? Did Williams do the turbo car thing, like with the like massive just jet on the back? I can't remember them. I mean, I don't know.
We still have another 7 clues, so you
Yeah,
don't
we're
have
gonna
to
need
give us an
some.
answer now. All right, clue number 4. I once gave Adrian Newey much concern during a race.
Stood and silent.
Okay, that could have been anything.
Yeah. Clue 5. I made my F1 debut at the A1 Ring in 1997.
So that's what is now Red Bull Ring.
Yes. And clue 6. Cryptic, but I was a glowing success.
Christ.
Okay, well, the Red Bull Ring, was as the A1 Ring as it was then, came back into Formula One in '97 after its original layout in the '80s. So it would be the '97 Austrian Grand Prix, which I have very little memory.
No help in this. I was not born. No.
No.
Nothing existed before 2003.
Oh, what's it going to be? It's going to be something technical on the car.
Glowing success, I feel, is I don't think it's just sort of, ooh, it was good glowing. I think this might be something that actually lit up.
joking. It was a joke. That was a joke. That's a joke. That's just a joke. I was just thinking as Lightning McQueen. You know, he has like sticky.
Won't be active suspension because that was before, no?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
was
was the early 90s.
93-ish.
Is it something to do with break?
Could be a glowing brake. Brakes glow.
I'm saying break.
Yeah. It's the only thing I can think of is ceramic brake discs.
Oh, yeah, brake disc.
And that would be a cause of concern, potentially.
Hey, I did something useful there, maybe.
Right, next, we've got 4 clues left. At the first race of the 1998 season, I helped 2 drivers lap the entire field.
I don't think it's brakes.
Could be. If you don't have to use them.
Clue number 8. Although previously been passed fit to race by Charlie Whiting, the stewards at the 1998 Brazilian Grand Prix ruled me illegal, ending my brief F1 career.
Oh, I feel like I know something. I don't.
I can't think of anything that was illegal
No.
in 1997, 98.
Clue 9 might help. I was David's 4th, but only Mika's 3rd.
So it's something McLaren-y. Assuming David is Coulthard and obviously Mika is
Yeah.
Hakkinen.
And clue 10, the final clue. There is no spaffer this week.
Oh, no.
I was revealed to the world by photographer Darren Heath, much to the annoyance of Ron Dennis.
Oh, is this the double brake pedal?
I am McLaren's extra brake pedal.
Yay.
Oh, there you go.
Because did he...
Well done, Sean.
Thank you.
That was spot on. That was very, because
This
I've
is...
heard about it.
McLaren had a double brake, which is weird.
Hey guys, I'm clever.
And the reason it was David's 4th was Coulthard was still using a foot clutch.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
very retro.
So had the 4th pedal on there. Paul, that was a brilliant one. You got everyone right to the end. That is great.
You did. That was very good.
If you want to send in a total shunt for future use, you normally send them to Lee, and you can get those to him by sending a direct message on Instagram or Twitter to @ATotalShunt. Or if you want to put one on the reserve list for weeks when Lee's not here, which, funnily enough, Alonso had a bad result this weekend and Lee's mysteriously gone missing. I don't know. I don't know if these facts are linked, but you can email them to.
And Charles Leclerc did well, and he's not here either. So, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that, Lee's not here.
And his local supermarket got a fresh delivery of 9 Crimes wine at the weekend, but we still don't know why Lee's not here. You can email them to me, and I'll get them at 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. You can use that email address as well if you want to get in touch with the show for any reason whatsoever. And we're also on the socials at 3legs4wheels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to get the show a little bit early, you can subscribe to our Patreon. We'll do more of the special Patreon shows once lockdown's over and the world's getting a little bit back to more normal, so you get to hear us to waffle for an extra half hour on anything that isn't F1. But you can subscribe from $1, £1 or €1 a month at patreon.com/3legs4wheels, or if you want to subscribe for $5 million a year, you will get your name on the 3legs4wheels Team AP F1 car in the future. Isn't that right?
That is right. You said we could ask some questions.
Yeah, we have questions.
Yeah, of course.
Question.
Well, I asked to ask it.
You want to ask me?
No, you ask it.
Okay.
No, right. I'm going to answer it before you do. Have you ever seen the flag of the Isle of Man?
Yes, I have.
Was that the question you were going to ask?
It is the most frequently asked question we get.
I
No, you just answered your own question. It's 3 legs 4.
Oh, okay. 'Cause before we got on, I was like, why is it called 3 legs?
Well,
The flag.
yeah. Originally, we thought that maybe nobody outside the Isle of Man is actually going to listen to a few friends sat around talking about Formula One. But the first few emails we got in after like the first few shows were like from the US. We had emails from Thailand, and it was too late then. We turned around, we made a mistake with the name of the show. It's just like, well, we can't change it now.
Yeah, I've just read out a quiz that was sent in by somebody from New Zealand.
To be fair, I even said, though, it's like it looks like it's got 3 legs and it still didn't click. So, but yeah,
That's why Abby goes, when the lights go out, do I go? Gets any 4 starts this year, you out of people because you'll be there going, do I go now?
at least I don't drive people, okay?
Not yet, love.
How did I know you
Not-
were going to
not
ask
yet.
that? Where was I? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Individual Twitters.
Oh,
Yes.
at Sean Cowper.
I don't even know.
At Flood21.
I'm at Pablo100. Lee, of course, is at a total shunt. And Alice and Abby, your Twitter handles if people want to get in touch.
Mine's at Abby Pulling with no E.
Yeah, because Abby is spelt wrong.
No.
And I'm at Alice Powell.
That's great. I'll share links to those on the website as well. We're definitely going to both be looking out for you both all this season. Wish you nothing but luck in all the races that you got coming up. And it would be great if you two could come on again and give us a report on how things are going in a couple of months down the line.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
sounds good.
If we're still here. Alice might have driven over the field.
I killed Abby as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're still
I was
on
going to say, if you haven't throttled each other, yeah.
if you're still on speaking terms, if not, we'll make sure we get you on 2 separate shows.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds a plan.
Yeah. I
Two
don't want to be
separate shows at
I don't want to be on the same one as her anyway.
Oh,
We started this way, the show is ending this way. Thanks to Abby and Alice for joining us this week. It's been really great having you on, and thanks everyone for listening. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week with God knows what.
Something.
We'll find something to talk about. We'll see you later. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.